report. All right, looks like we're having some technical difficulties there. Instead, we're going to head over to our chief meteorologist, T.G. Shuck, for another check on that forecast on what's been kind of a gloomy day out there, but had a little bit of reprieve with that sunshine coming back, T.G.
Yeah, it took a little while, a little longer than anticipated, and early this afternoon with the mid-level overcast, we were only in the low 70s. I'm sure a lot of folks wondered, hey, are we going to make that 80? We made it, and then some. And so it feels really, really good out there. In fact, there is even a little touch of humidity. That is something that we have not talked about for quite a while. So thinning clouds for the time being. All the active weather is out to our west. Tornado watch box into parts of western Illinois, northern Missouri, and southeastern Iowa. Unfortunately, the same areas that had that tornado outbreak on Friday. Things are looking quiet out there this evening, so enjoy it. You see our Bluegrass Pace Gear, Skyview HD Camera Network, Hickson Funson Cam, east side of Lexington. There it is, straight up 80, and you can thank the combination of that filtered sun and a south wind at about 10 to 15, and it will continue to be breezy this evening and overnight. Much more like it here. 79 Danville and Hazard, elsewhere into the low 80s. 83 in London, 82 Somerset, down to Williamsburg. I mentioned the dew points. We show you these a lot in the spring and summer. Great measure of the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. Anytime you get 60 or above, that's when it starts to feel just a little bit on the muggy side. So our muggy meter is going to hang there in that range until that boundary moves through sometime late tomorrow evening, early part of Thursday, and then we're back in the comfy air. Everyone across the Ohio and Tennessee Valley dealing with some summer-like temperatures, many locations into the 80s. And notice, we're only talking upper 60s, combo with the clouds, some scattered clouds, and that south breeze staying up. And a lot of the activity as far as storms will hold off until probably this time tomorrow, coming in from west to east. That will allow temperatures to surge into the low, maybe even a few mid-80s down south. The severe risk, once again, we go 1, 2, 3. Green, yellow, and orange. They've actually pushed the level 3 a little farther to the west. It still includes Lexington. Damaging winds, that's really going to be our primary threat. A little more concerned about the heavy rain threat and flooding, especially south central Kentucky here. But the isolated tornado threat always on the table this time of the year. The greatest threat of that will be off to our north. And yet again, 12th time since December 1st, another wind advisory, the bluegrass westward. Those gradient winds could gust over 45 miles per hour. We'll tell you more about that in your 7-day forecast coming up.
Now to our top story at 6. After a historic legislative session, Kentucky lawmakers and the governor have passed several significant pieces of legislation into law. Among them, legalizing sports betting in the state.
ABC 36's Anna Medina spoke with an insider on the potential impact it could have here in the Bluegrass state and is warning for those ready to place bets. Anna?
Kentucky lawmakers wrapping up a historic legislative session last week with the passage of the sports betting bill, or House Bill 551, which passed the House on the final day by a vote of 63 to 34. It then cleared the Senate in a vote of 25 to 12. The governor then signing it into law last Friday. But there are still many questions, including when will it take effect and its potential impacts.
You can argue about the merits of legalizing sports betting and all that.
With sports betting becoming legal in the Bluegrass after years of pushback, many are now wondering what comes next.
Anytime a state launches, it's good news for all of us in the sports betting space. For us, we cover the industry, so we're always happy when there's movement because it means the market's moving forward.
Christopher Bowen, an analyst with BetKentucky.com and Gambling.com, explains his role.
We're an affiliate site. We don't take bets. We're not an operator, so we're not like a FanDuel, but we connect people. We give them bonus codes and things so they can go to a FanDuel or a DraftKings or a BetMGM and have money to get extra money, basically. Like the Hotels.com of gambling, pretty much.
Bowen says legalizing sports betting is a step in the right direction, and it will increase tax revenue for Kentucky by allowing the state's 9-horse racing tracks to be licensed by sports betting facilities for a $500,000 upfront fee. Tracks could then renew their license annually for $50,000.
You're looking at about $40 million in tax revenue if that should be the market size that Kentucky ends up hitting. That being said, though, that money was all going to Ohio. That was all going to West Virginia. That was all going to Tennessee. That was all going to Indiana beforehand. So it was literally net $0 to the state of Kentucky. But the bottom line is this is money that's going to go to the Kentucky Pension Fund. 97.5% of this money that's generated tax dollar-wise is going to go to the Kentucky Pension Fund. So this is going to help Kentucky residents. This is not going to go. Most of the tax dollars are going to stay in Kentucky.
Bowen adding that one of the highlights of what will be the sports betting industry in Kentucky will be its regulation. However, he cautions those who plan to bet online to make sure it's from a reputable website.
There's a bunch of stamps at the bottom of the page. Just if people scroll down the page, if they don't see those stamps, get out. It's not a reputable website.
Now the timeline for the sports betting bill to take effect has a deadline of June 28th, but that may change as the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission has an additional 6 months. For now, Anna Medina, ABC 36 on your side.
Well, back to developing news of the historic surrender, arrest, and arraignment of former President Donald Trump.
Mike Valerio has the latest.
Well, good afternoon from New York, where the former president has now pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. But prosecutors here in Lower Manhattan argue this was not just a personal matter. Rather, they say the former president attempted to undermine the integrity of the 2016 election. Former President Donald Trump walking into his historic arraignment on more than 30 charges related to business fraud. Tuesday's legal proceedings relatively short, but its impact on American history seismic, unprecedented. Trump is now the first ever former or sitting president to be criminally charged. The charges center on a 2016 hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels, facilitated by his then personal lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, who was convicted for his role in that payment and testified to the New York grand jury against his former boss.
Michael Cohen did time for a crime that the federal prosecutors in Manhattan said Donald Trump directed him to do, and it was only for his benefit. And so Michael Cohen did the time. Now it's time for equal justice.
Trump is already looking ahead towards a possible trial, posting Tuesday morning that it should be moved to Staten Island because Manhattan would be, quote, very unfair. Security around the New York City courthouse was ramped up ahead of Tuesday's arraignment, with overall peaceful crowds gathering both for and against Trump, including a brief appearance by one of his most vocal allies on the Hill.
This is the former president of the United States of America, and the government has been weaponized against him.
He is not above the law. He should not be above the law. The analysis of whether or not he is or is not a former president should be irrelevant.
The next step for Trump, back at home at Mar-a-Lago Tuesday night, where his lawyers have said they'll dissect every charge in the now unsealed indictment and plan their defense. And prosecutors are also alleging that these payments amounted to an illegal conspiracy to affect the results of the election. The next in-person court date here is on December 4th. That's the latest here in Lower Manhattan. I'm Mike Valerio. Back to you.
Well, the family of a Pulaski County high school football player who died after an injury during practice, thanking the community for their support today.
As we reported, 17-year-old Andrew Dodson died on Monday, just days after a head injury during a spring scrimmage. The Kentucky High School Athletic Association says the tight end and defensive lineman for the Maroons was rushed to surgery, but later died. The Dodson family today saying they're absolutely heartbroken. A statement reads in part, quote, Andrew was full of life and love. He loved his family. He loved his friends. He loved football, but above all, he loved his Savior. It goes on to say, we want to thank everyone for their outpouring of love and support during this difficult time.
Funeral arrangements have been announced for the 17-year-old. Visitation will take place at the Center for Rural Development in Somerset on Thursday from 5:30 p.m. until 9 and Friday from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. The funeral will follow at 11.
Kentucky State Police is investigating a deadly crash in Mercer County. KSP says they got a call around 8 this morning about a single vehicle crash involving a pedestrian on South Louisville Road. Investigators say 25-year-old Wyatt Lucas of Lexington was driving south when he reportedly hit 67-year-old Bobby Harden of Salvisa, who was on the road. Harden was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver was not injured. No word on any possible charges at this time.
One person has been charged in connection to a homicide last year in Lexington. Police say 32-year-old Courtney Young is charged with murder, possession of a handgun by a convicted felon, and tampering with physical evidence. As we've reported, police responded to the 700 block of Maple Avenue last October for a report of a shooting. Police say a woman was found with a gunshot wound. She died at the scene. Young was arrested a few days later and is being held in the Fayette County Detention Center.
Lexington city leaders holding a ribbon-cutting ceremony today for a new multi-purpose building at Acton Park.
The new building features a covered concession stand as well as updated restrooms to support activities at what Mayor Gordon calls the most active park in the city. With 4 tennis courts, a playground, 2 baseball fields, a half basketball court, and lots of green space, city leaders say they wanted an area to accommodate the countless community events the park hosts during the summer.
Whether it is being used by residents here for a ball game, for a summer concert, or other community events, I'm thankful to have this resource for our community.
The project was funded through American Rescue Plan funds. The city dedicated $10 million in federal funding to projects identified in Lexington Parks and Recreation's master plan, which highlights needed updates in parks citywide.
Well, coming up, an update on those barges that got loose on the Ohio River carrying toxic chemicals.
We'll hear the latest from the fleet captain, who has reportedly been on scene ever since it happened.
Well, feeling like summer out there on this Tuesday. We've had afternoon highs surge into the low 80s in most locations, a touch of humidity. We're going to see another day with those 80s, but also our storm chances increasing. I'll have that 7-day forecast for you coming up after the break.
Beat the rush by scheduling your $69 air conditioning tune-up now with Comfort Heating and Air. An AC tune-up can save you money and help prevent costly breakdowns. Keep your family cool by calling Comfort today. Call 859-266-3678 to schedule your appointment.
When the Thompsons first bought their house, all they saw was their dream home. They didn't yet know that with a home equity line of credit from Commonwealth Credit Union, it would be their keys to epic cannonballs and the chance to see the world. As years went by, it allowed them to empower the next generation and make happily ever after come true. Which begs the question, what could your home be doing for you? Let's find out together. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
It's been 154 days. 5 long months. And now, the wait is over. Finally. Racing is back at Keeneland, April 7th through 28th. Reserve your tickets at Keeneland.com.
Save big and transform your home with new windows from Champion. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Give your home the look and feel it deserves. Get windows direct from our factory to your home. Buy 2, get 2 free. Call or go online to book your free estimate at getchampionwindows.com.
Historically, sauces are either sweet or spicy, but Arby's new King's Hawaiian Chicken Sandwich is both, because Arby's makes both history and sandwiches. Arby's, we have the meat.
Injured? Great results like these are why so many people in Kentucky get Hughes & Coleman and get it done. $412,000 for a man who was injured in a crash in Louisville, $1 million for a Bowling Green man involved in a motorcycle wreck, and $2 million for a woman in a car wreck in Logan County. If you've been injured, do what thousands of Kentuckians have already done. Call 800-800-4600. Get Hughes & Coleman and get it done.
Invest in your family's comfort with a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system from Comfort Heating and Air. You can get a new HVAC system with payments as low as $120 a month and a free Nest thermostat. Call 859-266-3678.
Well, it's been a nice start to this first week of April here in central and eastern Kentucky. Some pretty sunrise shots. This one out of McCreary County earlier. Some nice views here and there from Jessica Esperson. And we had the clouds kind of thickening up as we expected through the morning and early afternoon hours. Took a little while for those to filter out a bit and allow some sunshine back in. So we're looking a whole lot better now. Organized severe weather already. Tornado watch into parts of western Illinois, northern Missouri, and into southeastern Iowa. Unfortunately, the same areas that had the tornado outbreak last Friday. Our Bluegrass Pace Care Skyview HD camera network can see the filtered sun out of the Kentucky Horse Park. Still feeling great. 80 degrees with that south wind at about 10 to 15, and that is going to stay up through the evening and the overnights. We're not going to see a big drop in temperatures at all. We're in the upper 70s and low 80s right now. We usually talk dew point spring and especially into the summer. These temperatures, great measure of the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. Anything 60 or above, that's when you start to get a little muggy feel. So basically along and west of the 64 corridor, and that muggy meter is going to stay up until that frontal boundary moves through into the early hours of Thursday. So out ahead of it, it will be warm and a touch on the muggy side. A lot of real estate enjoying summer-like air. 58 to start, 80 for the afternoon high. That's our current temperature. 63 and 41 the average high and low. 6 off the record of 86 set back in 1934. Starting to crank these storms up across the Missouri River Valley. This is going to be more of an evening and an overnight event. Unfortunately, as mentioned, the same areas, not only through the Missouri River Valley, but down into Arkansas that saw the severe weather outbreak. We're firmly in the warmer air, and as a result, even with some scattered cloudiness around during the overnight, notice we're going to start things out upper 60s to around 70 in the morning. A lot of the day should be dry. Here's our latest futurecast. You see temperatures into the low and even a few mid 80s with most of the activity out to the west. Now, as we get into the early evening hours, our futurecast wants to bring that line through here sometime during the mid-evening. And one change, it's trying to at least run some additional rainfall and storms in a weakened state, I think, during the early hours of Thursday. This in response to that frontal boundary checking up and then a wave of energy helping to enhance some of that rain. So this area south and east of Lexington will have to watch for the potential of some flooding issues if the same areas see some heavier rain. And you see it hanging into the day on Thursday, at least south and east of Lexington. The severe threat here in the Bluegrass, westward level 3 in orange, and then it ramps down. Damaging winds, the primary threat here. That isolated tornado threat always on the table, but I think the better chance for anything as far as tornadoes will be off to our northwest from Illinois through Indiana and Michigan. Not to say an isolated spin up can't be on the table, but it's really more of a damaging wind threats. Gradient winds come into play tomorrow as well. Notice those gusts 40 to 45 even before any of those storms do in fact move in, and then we will back those down a bit into Thursday. No big surprise. Another wind advisory, the 12th one since December 1st here in central Kentucky, and that goes 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Low moves on by, much cooler, some lingering showers looking at the big picture, and I think some scattered clouds around on Friday. 58, that's still a little bit below average for this time of the year, but we're headed the right direction getting into Easter weekend. So another summer-like day tomorrow and then back to reality for a few days. But good news on Easter Sunday, about 68 and dry conditions, and we're back into the low 70s. Looks like it may end up dry across central and eastern Kentucky early next week.
When you get Spectrum One, you get fast, reliable internet for $49.99. I mean, I could stop right there, but I won't because, surprise, you find out you're also getting free advanced Wi-Fi with Security Shield, which makes it an even better deal. Until another surprise. You find out you're also getting a free line of unlimited mobile with 5G. Amazing. Surprise again. You also get Speed Boost, which makes your Spectrum mobile speeds even faster when you're connected to Wi-Fi. Surprise, it's me. That's a lot of surprises. I should just popped out of that. Point is, with Spectrum One, you're going to be very surprised by all the free stuff you get. Or you would be if I hadn't already just told you. But still, when you get in there, could you act surprised? A little something for the people in the store. Get Spectrum One, internet for just $49.99, plus free advanced Wi-Fi and a free line of unlimited mobile. Visit spectrum.com/surprise, a Spectrum store, or call 844-7-SURPRISE today.
ABC 36, on your side.
A conservative fighter, Daniel Cameron. Cameron sued Joe Biden to secure the border and stop the flow of illegal drugs. He got tough on the companies who fueled the opioid crisis, helping pass legislation to secure the maximum funds to fight opioids here at home. He's a champion for law enforcement, and he's earned the endorsement of President Trump.
Mr. President, we are going to make sure that Kentucky is never a sanctuary state.
A conservative fighter for Kentucky, Daniel Cameron for governor.
Jennifer Garner talks her new TV project with pal Reese Witherspoon.
I couldn't jump at it fast enough, honestly.
Next, DT.
Tonight at 7 on ABC 36. Watch ABC 36 every Friday night for Chief Meteorologist T.G. Shucks' Bowtie Friday Forecast. Brought to you by Stuart Mercer. You're watching ABC 36 News at 6 with Erica Bivens, Paxton Boyd, Chief Meteorologist T.G. Shuck, and Sports with Jeff Pecoro. ABC 36, on your side.
Well, now to an update on the deadly military aircraft crash out of Fort Campbell. The 101st Airborne Division now saying the flight data recorders have been recovered from the two Blackhawks.
Now, that crash happened during a nighttime training accident on March 29th. Commonly referred to as black boxes in civilian aircrafts, those recorders have now been sent in for further analysis. However, the 101st Airborne Division says the remains of all 9 soldiers have been transferred to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. They were escorted and honored with a police escort from Fort Campbell to Dover Air Force Base.
3 of the soldiers who died in the accident have been posthumously promoted to the next higher grade. We'll have more coming up tonight at 11.
Meantime, salvage operations beginning today to remove those 2 barges stuck on the Ohio River near Louisville.
Now, last Tuesday, we reported a number of barges came loose from a tugboat and got stuck against the McAlpine Locks and Dam. One of the barges is loaded with methanol, a toxic chemical. Fleet Captain Mike McBride says it's a difficult challenge.
He said crews will transfer 1,400 tons of methanol from the barge lodged at the dam to another barge. That transfer is expected to take 8 to 10 hours. Crews will then work to remove the empty methanol barge and then switch the other barge, which is filled with corn. Well, coming up in sports, a third UK basketball player has declared for the NBA draft.
And the UK football coach is looking for some consistency as spring practice enters its final week. Sports is coming up next.
After my wreck, I was hurt. I couldn't work. I take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. So I called the Hammer.
I'm attorney Daryl Isaacs, the Hammer. We've seen this game 1,000 times. We'll take on the big insurance companies, and we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve for your medical bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering.
The Hammer won the game and got me $440,000.
One call, that's all.
Call 877-ALL-7s.
This is Beth. She's in an endless aisle of flat pack furniture she'll never have time to assemble. What Beth really needs is a break from the DIY with my new Calvin bedroom. She'll love the gorgeous detail on the stylish chevron headboard in stunning white and calming gray finishes. The 5-piece set still only costs $9.99. And with Bobtastic delivery, she can get white glove unpacking, assembly, trash removal, and more. Why do more when you can spend less and get more? Take a break. Spring break at Bob's Discount Furniture.
Calling all car owners, Fleet Doc is the most trusted vehicle doctor in the Bluegrass. Servicing light to medium duty vehicles for both industry and the public, let Fleet Doc help you ace your car checkup. Now through May, we're offering $50 off any brake or preventative maintenance service and 25% off 3 or more flush services. Recognized as a Carfax top-rated service provider, Fleet Doc is your one-stop shop for all your car's needs. Make an appointment with your trusted vehicle doctor today. Visit Fleet Doc, located in Lexington and Richmond.
A warm DQ biscuit? A sizzling Purnell sausage patty? Oh, this sausage biscuit sandwich is the ultimate breakfast. A warm DQ biscuit? A sizzling Purnell sausage patty? Oh, this sausage biscuit sandwich is the ultimate breakfast. Oh, wow. Deja vu. Oh, wait. You get both? Deja biscuits. Stop by today to get the DQ sausage biscuit twin pack. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Explore, compare, and find your car at Man Cars
KentuckyCars.com.
Man, what a deal.
Kentucky men's senior basketball player Antonio Reeves has declared for the 2023 NBA draft, but he will retain his college eligibility. Reeves has one more year if he chooses to return to UK. Reeves transferred to UK from Illinois State. He averaged 14.5 points a game, second only to Oscar Tshiebwe. He made 83 pointers to lead the team this year. He was tabbed the SEC's Co-Sixth Man of the Year, having 4 20-point games coming off the bench, the most of any player in the Calipari era. He led the team in scoring 13 times this season and had 10 20 or more point games, including a career-high 37 points against Arkansas. He will receive evaluations from the NBA and decide whether to come back to UK or go ahead and enter the draft. The deadline to return to school is May 31st. To football, the Kentucky football team held an open practice Saturday that included a scrimmage. This morning was their first practice since Saturday, and coaches looked for consistency. After practice this morning, offensive coordinator Liam Cohen, who has been back calling plays for all of 3 weeks during spring, was frustrated at his offense. Cohen is working with a new quarterback, a new running back, an offensive line with potentially 3 new starters, and a tight end group that is minus its top 3 players due to injury. All things considered, it wasn't a bad practice, it just wasn't great.
It just felt like it was 2 steps forward, a little bit, 1 step back. We'd have a couple big good plays, and then we'd go -3. So there was just too many opportunities that we go back and look at the film, and you're like, oh man, we had this, you had that. And there's too many times right now that all 11 aren't truly all doing exactly what they're supposed to do. It's 8 or 9 guys, and then those 2 or 3 that might make a mistake. Well, that's really important. It was good to see us move the football. It was deflating to see us not finish.
Well, they still have 4 more practices to go before spring practice ends this year. And don't forget, if you want to go see a top 10 baseball team, UK is hosting Dayton in about 6 minutes.
TikTok. Sounds good. We'll be right back.
ABC 36 Solid Blue Sports Report is brought to you by UK Federal Credit Union.
Historically, sauces are either sweet or spicy, but Arby's new King's Hawaiian Chicken Sandwich is both, because Arby's makes both history and sandwiches. Arby's, we have the meat.
These new scratch-offs from the Kentucky Lottery will get you moving.
Invest in your family's comfort with a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system from Comfort Heating and Air. Enjoy your new system with payments as low as $120 a month and a free Nest thermostat. Save today and experience years of comfort from the pros at Comfort. Call now for your free consultation or second opinion. Expert technicians and guaranteed service makes Comfort Heating and Air your best bet. Professional installation available 7 days a week. Call 859-266-3678 to schedule your appointment.
To everyone who believes in tradition, come enjoy a few of ours from Wisconsin.
People in Wisconsin love a good fish fry.
Really love. And we love sharing it with guests everywhere.
At Culver's, we still batter our North Atlantic cod by hand to order.
And we cook it to a crispy, golden perfection just for you.
For you.
For you. So it's crispy outside, flaky inside. Let us take care of you.
With some homegrown traditions we were raised on.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Watch me. Watch me tumble, jump, and soar. When our squad is on point, we own the floor. Dazzling stunts and dances are my jam. Pain once caused issues, but they had a plan. A life-changing brace with no surgery to fear. Activity without limits, one more reason to cheer. Watch me. Industry-leading scoliosis treatment at Shriners Children's. The most amazing care anywhere.
My name's Christina Bissett, and I'm an attorney at Morgan & Morgan. A lot of the times clients will call in, they don't know what to do. It's our job to step in and really show them how easy it truly can be. If you're injured and you don't know what to do, go to forthepeople.com.
Wake up weekday mornings with The Burt Show.
We're a morning show that really doesn't like morning shows, so we decided to create something that you've never heard before. It's real, it's funny, we talk a lot about our personal lives.
More music and The Burt Show every weekday morning, Hot 102.5.
And here's your Kentucky Lottery scratch forecast. Rolling through the next couple of days. A lot of tomorrow will be dry, probably this time tomorrow night, dealing with a line of showers and storms coming through. Some of them could be strong. The shower chances linger southern Kentucky into Thursday, and a little dose of reality. Nice little 30-degree drop for good measure. But we will climb the ladder, and the upcoming Easter weekend looks pretty good overall. I think we're going to see highs by Easter Sunday close to 70.
Sunday, yeah. That is this weekend already.
Jumps up quick.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody think of one.
Thanks for joining us.
I can't wait to eat.
World News Tonight starts now.
Tonight, former President Trump indicted on criminal charges, arrested and arraigned here in New York City. The only president, former or current, to ever face criminal charges, leaving Trump Tower, his 4-mile ride to Lower Manhattan, alone with his Secret Service agents. The NYPD and the Secret Service guiding the route. His eyes locked on the camera as he walked into the courtroom on the 15th floor of criminal court. And once inside, still photographers allowed in the room, capturing images both somber and surreal. Trump flanked by his legal team, officers standing behind him. The former president himself pleading not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Tonight, the indictment unsealed what it reveals about 3 separate hush money payments before the pivotal 2016 election, and why David Pecker, the owner of the National Enquirer, could play a key role for the prosecution with the alleged catch and kill scheme, allegedly paying for stories but then killing them to allegedly help the candidate. Tonight, Trump headed back to Mar-a-Lago, where this all heads next. And what about the other investigations many legal observers say are far more significant than this one? Aaron Katersky, John Carl, Dan Abrams, and Kate Shaw all here tonight. Also, as we come on the air, the breaking headline, the life-threatening tornadoes expected in the coming hours tonight. A new tornado watch across several states at this hour, and in the next 24 hours, several major cities in the path of possible dangerous tornadoes. Ginger Z carefully times it out. 1 week after the deadly school shooting in Nashville, 3 hero police officers, in their own words right here, about walking toward the gunfire, the moment they confronted the suspect and what's now been discovered. A disturbing investigation, a well-known governor's one-time chief of staff killed in a confrontation with the FBI following a 3-week manhunt. A major setback tonight for Vladimir Putin. This evening, Finland officially joining NATO, and you'll see right here how dramatically the NATO border has now changed. The cruise ship fall, a passenger falling from a balcony onto a lower deck, reportedly landing on another person. The warning tonight from actor Hugh Jackman, in his own words here, his personal health scare, hoping others will be helped by his words. And America Strong tonight, running with the dogs, hoping to find them homes. It's working.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. And we begin tonight with something we have never seen. A president criminally charged, arrested, and appearing before the judge. Tonight, former President Donald Trump has been charged with 34 felonies. The first president, former or current, to ever become a criminal defendant. Trump himself pleading not guilty. The charge is now unsealed, accusing the former president of falsifying business records to allegedly conceal other crimes. Prosecutors say a catch and kill scheme, catching stories, paying for them, and killing them, getting rid of them, concealing them from voters before the pivotal 2016 election. Prosecutors citing 3 different hush money payments, the former president's solitary ride from Trump Tower, the images on this day, the former president's route through the cleared streets of Manhattan to the criminal court downtown, alone in the SUV, accompanied only by his Secret Service agents. On the way, posting to social media saying, "Seems so surreal. Wow, they're going to arrest me." A wave as he entered the courthouse to be fingerprinted and processed on a lower floor and then taken up in an elevator usually reserved for judges to the 15th floor courtroom. His eyes locked on the camera right there in that hallway. His aides say he was angry but resolute, aware of the stakes on this day. The images tonight from inside the courtroom where no TV cameras were allowed. Trump's team had argued that that would lead to a circus-like atmosphere. The judge agreed. Only still photographers allowed in before it started. Court officer standing behind the defendant's table, the former president seated with his legal team, but standing and speaking for himself, answering not guilty to all 34 charges. At a brief news conference afterward, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg defending the case, answering that question, why now, saying prosecutors now have new evidence they didn't have before. ABC senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky leading us off in Lower Manhattan.
Tonight, Donald Trump, the first president in American history to become a criminal defendant. All day, New York City on high alert. Police lining the streets around Trump Tower as Trump raised his fist, giving a wave as he stepped into a car. As his motorcade made its way downtown, sources tell ABC News that apart from his Secret Service detail, the former president rode alone. No lawyers, no family, no advisors with him. Approaching criminal court in Lower Manhattan, Trump posting on social media seems so surreal. Wow, they are going to arrest me. Outside court, small groups of supporters and opponents. Police keeping the peace as the former president arrived. Inside, Trump surrendered. He was arrested, booked, and processed like a common criminal. His fingerprints taken, but no mugshot. Trump was taken upstairs in an elevator usually reserved for judges. Stone-faced officers escorting him into the courtroom.
President Trump, will you come speak to us? President Trump?
Then that first picture, Trump at the defendant's table, his shoulders slumped, hands in his lap, flanked by his lawyers. Court officers standing behind him. Minutes later, the indictment unsealed. The former president himself pleading not guilty to those 34 felony charges that he repeatedly and fraudulently falsified New York business records to conceal criminal conduct that hid damaging information from the voting public during the 2016 presidential election. Trump then walking out of court without a word.
How did you plead, President Trump? How did you plead?
Prosecutors allege Trump orchestrated a criminal scheme with his former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen and his friend, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker, to pay hush money to at least 3 people, including porn actress Stormy Daniels.
A catch and kill scheme. That is a scheme to buy and suppress negative information to help Mr. Trump's chance of winning the election.
An effort allegedly to prevent damaging stories from tipping the balance in a tight election where voters were unhappy with both candidates. Prosecutors say in a 2015 Trump Tower meeting, Pecker told Trump he would act as the eyes and ears for the campaign by looking out for negative stories. And in June of 2016, just months before the election, they say Pecker informed Trump a woman, believed to be former Playboy model Karen McDougal, had approached the Enquirer, claiming she once had an affair with Trump. Prosecutors charged that Trump was concerned about the effect it could have on his candidacy, and he and Pecker and Cohen had a series of discussions about who should pay off McDougal to secure her silence. Ultimately, the Enquirer paid McDougal $150,000 for her story, but never published it. Prosecutors allege Trump also arranged for a $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels a few months later. And the Enquirer paid off a Trump Tower doorman who was trying to sell a story about Trump fathering a child, a story the tabloid later concluded was not true. The indictment charges Trump disguised the criminal scheme by falsifying business records.
34 false statements made to cover up other crimes. These are felony crimes in New York State, no matter who you are. We cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conduct.
But the former president's attorneys insisting there's no way Donald Trump would have been charged if he wasn't Donald Trump.
Well, everyone is not above the law. No one's below it either. And if this man's name was not Donald J. Trump, there is no scenario we'd all be here today. Please understand that based on these charges.
It was an extraordinary day. Aaron Katersky on the air with us all afternoon. He's outside court in Lower Manhattan again tonight for us. And Aaron, what are the next steps here? And you're learning more tonight about the judge's warning for the defendant, the former president?
Yes, David, as the former president's plane took off from New York, his lawyers came out to promise to file a flurry of motions to reduce the charges, to dismiss the case. And, David, the prosecutors want this trial to begin in January of 2024. The defense said that would be aggressive. It should be more like next spring. But either way, it puts a trial in the height of the campaign season. And one more note about that warning, David. Prosecutors made a point of showing the judge some of the relentless attacks by Trump on the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. The judge said there would be no gag order, but he did issue a warning. Say nothing that could incite violence or civil unrest. David?
Aaron Katersky leading us off here tonight. Aaron, thank you. And of course, we're also learning more about the dynamic in that courtroom. After the political rhetoric in the weeks before all of this, the former president taking aim, then the power shift with the former president now a criminal defendant before the judge. Let's bring in ABC's chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl live here in New York for our coverage. And John, our team in that room describing a very different dynamic playing out in court today.
David, Donald Trump is accustomed to being the center of attention and in control in whatever room he walks into. That was decidedly not the case today inside that courtroom. As he walked in, Trump looked as profoundly unhappy as I have ever seen him, a deep scowl on his face. He was in the courtroom for 57 minutes, surrounded by his lawyers, police officers standing behind him. He had to wait for about a full 5 minutes before the judge entered the room. And when the judge walked in, Trump had to do what everybody else had to do in that room, stand. It would be the judge calling the shots, not Donald Trump. Our reporter in the room, Olivia Rubin, noticed that Trump spoke so softly that at one point the judge said, "I can't hear you," and asked him to repeat what he was saying. Speaking softly, that's not something we see Donald Trump do ever, if at all. And I suspect, David, that as we go on, he will not be speaking softly for long.
John Karl, our thanks to you and Olivia Rubin, who was in that courtroom. I appreciate it. There are a couple of key legal questions tonight before we move on, so let's bring in our legal analyst, ABC News contributor, and of course, constitutional law professor Kate Shaw, and our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. And Kate, let me begin with you, because for all of this talk about Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen, David Pecker's name emerged right away in this indictment, the former owner of the National Enquirer, and this alleged catch-and-kill scheme that we've reported on before.
That's right. So David Pecker, former National Enquirer chief, former close Trump friend and ally, is a central player in the scheme that the indictment today sets forth. This catch-and-kill scheme basically seems to have been crafted back in 2015 when Pecker, according to the indictment, says to Trump, "We're going to be the eyes and ears of your campaign. We'll help look out for damaging stories, and we'll help kill them if necessary." And so the indictment walks through a couple of episodes, one involving a Trump Tower doorman who was paid to conceal a damaging story about an alleged out-of-wedlock child, a payment to former model Karen McDougal, also to conceal a damaging story about a relationship with former President Trump. So this is someone who, according to the indictment and the statement of facts, was intimately involved in all of these events. We know he testified twice before the grand jury at the beginning and the end, so he could be a critical witness at trial.
But Dan, still a very difficult case to prosecute.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's the facts and the law. The facts as laid out today could be a compelling argument. But before they even get there, they're going to have to overcome the legal issues. Question one, what is the crime that prosecutors are alleging escalated this from a misdemeanor to a felony? So far, the Manhattan DA is being pretty vague about exactly what that crime is. There are potential statute of limitations questions here. So expect some not frivolous, quite serious motions to be made by the Trump team to try to even prevent this from getting to a jury in its current form.
And just a couple of moments before I move on, but we have to remind viewers at home about these other cases. The special counsel investigating January 6th and classified documents appearing to move very quickly now, and Fulton County, Georgia.
Right, and remember that, of course, in the federal case, the special counsel, we're talking about obstruction of justice is the bigger issue with regard to those documents, in addition to the January 6th investigation. That is moving very aggressively and very quickly.
And how soon could we hear from Fulton County?
Fulton County, Georgia, I think is moving, if anything, even faster. We could hear any day.
All right, Kate Shaw, Dan Abrams, thanks for your coverage all day long here today with us. In the meantime, we are going to move to the other news here tonight. As we come on the air at this hour, there is this threat of life-threatening tornadoes yet again. In fact, 95 million Americans are on alert, including major cities in the next 24 hours, and a new tornado watch across several states right now. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee tracking it for us. She's in Quincy, Illinois tonight. Ginger?
David, we are in that tornado watch here in Quincy, Illinois, over the Mississippi River, those stormy skies. We've seen the lightning around, and now I want you to take a look at this tornado watch that's all the way through eastern Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, Centerville, northeast Missouri, and western Illinois. We've already seen tennis ball size hail. We could easily see tornadoes and damaging wind in excess of 70 miles per hour. Let's take you through the rest of the forecast, though, because this is not the only area in that level 4 out of 5. Late night tonight into the overnight hours, just west of Little Rock, including Fort Smith, Springfield, Missouri, also seeing it. That's with the dry line and the fronts. Lots of forcing mechanisms here as this thing passes. Overnight's going to be pretty ruckus into the morning hours in Indiana, Ohio, down to Memphis. Look at the damaging wind threat all the way to Louisiana. David.
All right, Ginger, we'll be watching first thing in the morning on GMA. Thank you. Next tonight here, 1 week after the deadly school shooting in Nashville, tonight we hear from the hero officers right here in their own words about walking toward the gunfire and the moment they confronted the suspect and what's now been discovered tonight. Here's Steve Osunsami.
They're 3 of the Nashville police officers who people across the country are praising tonight for ending this school shooting that could have very easily taken more lives.
Metro Police! Not knowing what I was walking into, I went through that door with purpose.
Kept walking towards the gun, the sound of gunfire.
Detective Sergeant Jeff Mathis, Detective Michael Colazzo, and Officer Rex Engelbert, who were first in the door, say they know that they're being compared favorably to the law enforcement who responded to school shootings in both Parkland, Florida, and Uvalde, Texas.
Once we started hearing the first shots, that's when everything kind of kicked into overdrive for us.
All of us stepped over a victim. I, to this day, don't know how I did that morally, but training is what kicked in. We then proceeded continually toward the sounds of gunfire.
The cameras they were wearing were rolling on yet another day in America when they had to fire at 28-year-old Audrey Hale on the second floor of this Christian grade school. At this point, Hale had already killed 3 9-year-olds and 3 adult staff members.
I've got an 11-month-old. Obviously, it's difficult. I will have this conversation with him when he is old enough and ready.
The officers say that once they took out the shooter, they then had to circle back and help some of the victims who they had to step over. We're learning tonight from a search warrant that police found a suicide note at the shooter's home. David.
Everyone grateful to those officers. Steve, thank you. Now to a very troubling case tonight involving a well-known governor's one-time chief of staff killed in a confrontation with the FBI after a 3-week manhunt. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, a nationwide manhunt for the one-time chief of staff to former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, ending in deadly gunfire in Tennessee. Roy McGrath on the run for 3 weeks after skipping his trial on charges he embezzled funds from the state of Maryland. The FBI tracking him down near Knoxville Monday night, attempting to take him into custody when authorities say a shot was fired, forcing agents to return fire. McGrath's attorney confirming he died a short time later, though it is not clear if he was killed by an FBI agent's bullet or died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. McGrath served as one of Hogan's top aides for 11 weeks back in the summer of 2020 before being indicted on wire fraud and embezzlement in 2021. McGrath was to stand trial March 13th, pleading not guilty. In a statement to ABC News, McGrath's attorney saying he never wavered about his innocence. Former Governor Hogan says he is deeply saddened by this tragic situation. The FBI says they will review this agent-involved shooting. David.
All right, Stephanie Ramos. Stephanie, thank you. Overseas tonight in a major strategic setback for Vladimir Putin, Finland officially becoming the 31st member of NATO. And take a look tonight. This is the map before Finland joined Russia's shared border right here with NATO countries seen in yellow. Now with Finland, its new border with NATO right there in orange. It now doubling. Russia now has a 1,600-mile border backed by NATO forces. Tonight, President Biden weighing in, saying NATO is more united than ever, Russia promising countermeasures now. When we come back here tonight, the deadly fall on board a cruise ship, a passenger falling from a balcony reportedly onto another person on a lower deck. And tonight, actor Hugh Jackman's new health scare and his warning in his own words tonight in a moment.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardiance at each day start. As time went on, it was easy to see I'm lowering my A1C.
take my eyes off my eyes.
My go-to is Lumify eye drops.
Lumify dramatically reduces redness.
In 1 minute.
And look at the difference.
My eyes look brighter and whiter.
For up to 8 hours.
It was love at first sight.
With Lumify, see for yourself.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Non-drowsy Claritin D knocks out your worst allergy symptoms, including nasal congestion, without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Claritin D.
It started. It's the side hug. Tween milestones like this may start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then, too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for others, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Welcome.
Now, as the dad cab, it's my cue to help protect them.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination.
Tonight, authorities are investigating the death of a passenger on board a Virgin Voyages cruise ship. The ship sailing from Miami to Honduras. The company says the passenger on the ship, Valiant Lady, fell from a balcony, reportedly onto another person on a lower deck. That person was not badly hurt. Again, the passenger who fell did not survive. When we come back, actor Hugh Jackman's health scare and his warning for others tonight.
I'm Lynette. This is my husband, Arthur.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe we're in our 70s.
I have recommended Consumer Cellular to so many people.
She was the one to convince me to come over to her side.
That's right.
Come over to Consumer Cellular and start saving. Get unlimited talk and text with a flexible data plan starting at just $20 a month.
The coverage has been excellent.
You know, it gives us exactly what we want.
You should go with Consumer Cellular.
Switch today. Call or go online.
Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Don't miss Ashley's one-day spring sale this Saturday in-store only. Spring into savings and refresh your home at Ashley with up to 30% off designer picks. Plus special financing options for every budget. Only at Ashley.
To the Index and actor Hugh Jackman's new skin cancer scare, awaiting results following his newest checkup. He's been on with us right here before on his own skin cancer, urging everyone again to be safe.
No matter how much you want to tan, trust me, trust me, trust me. This is all stuff that happened 25 years ago. It's coming out now. Put some sunscreen on. You'll still have an incredible time out there. All right? Please be safe.
Jackman hoping his own words will help protect others. When we come back here tonight, saving the dogs by running with them.
Living with eczema, we're used to this feeling. It's time your skin gets used to a different one with Opzelura. For the treatment of mild to moderate eczema, Opzelura is proven to clear or almost clear skin and significantly reduce itch fast. Opzelura is an on-the-spot cream applied directly to your eczema to help your skin feel less itch, less irritation, and more relief. All without steroids, pills, or injections.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB or hepatitis B or C. Serious lung infections, skin cancer, blood clots, and low blood cell counts occurred with Opzelura. In people taking JAK inhibitors, serious infections, increased risk of death, lymphoma, other cancers, and major cardiovascular events have occurred. The most common side effect was the common cold.
Discover the feeling of relief at your fingertips with Opzelura, a cream that helps calm itch and clear skin. Ask your dermatologist about Opzelura today.
There are more identity threats than you realize. LifeLock alerts you and works to fix problems with a dedicated restoration specialist. Go to lifelock.com.
Age-related macular degeneration may lead to severe vision loss, and if you're taking a multivitamin alone, you may be missing a critical piece. PreserVision. PreserVision AREDS 2 contains the only clinically proven nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
PreserVision is backed by 20 years of clinical studies.
So ask your doctor about adding PreserVision and fill in a missing piece of your plan.
Like I did with PreserVision.
Now with Ocuzor, better absorbing nutrients.
A superhero of the Avengers and his extraordinary fight to live.
Someone's been run over by a snowcat.
This was a sound of someone that was dying.
Do you remember the pain?
Oh, all of it.
The Diane Sawyer interview, Thursday night on ABC.
Finally tonight here, Running with the Dogs, America Strong. Tonight, just outside Tampa, the George Steinbrenner High School boys cross-country team. For years now, it's become a tradition, picking up dogs from the Humane Society of Tampa Bay and running with them. Senior Zach Harrigan.
I just love just being out here in the morning, and I'm definitely a dog person.
Zach pairing up with a rescue running buddy. Today, it's Scooby.
Good boy.
Into Zach's car and then to the park. They're hoping the exposure and the runs will get them attention and some fresh air and perhaps a new home.
It's definitely like a good team experience.
Jacob, a sophomore, saying they're the perfect workout partners.
I think it really teaches like responsibility. I mean, helps them out too, helps us.
The team credits the dogs with helping them train and bond and making it to the state championships, going for their 14th this year. The Humane Society credits the team with helping to find them homes. And tonight, their head coach.
Hi, David. My name is Allison Spinar. We've helped over 100 dogs get adopted. It teaches the team to care more about others than themselves, and I think it's really translated into our success as a team.
No question. Let's find the rest of the dogs' homes, too. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Tonight, Leonardo DiCaprio in court.
Your Honor,
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Why he's being called to testify in a conspiracy case, and the other A-listers who could take the stand. Then a Grey's Anatomy star saves her kids but loses her pets in a house fire. Katerina Scorzone on narrowly escaping the blaze. Plus, Kelly Ripa rips into her early days at Live, why she was forced to work in a janitor's closet, and what left her with PTSD.
You shouldn't have to apologize for asking for what you need.
Then, TLC singer Chili after boyfriend Matthew Lawrence revealed baby plans on E.T.
That's what we're trying to do.
I was like, what?
Plus, Tyler Perry expanding his empire.
Rumor? No, it's not a rumor.
The major network he wants to buy. And a sneak peek at the Barbie movie.
Hi, Ken. Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them.
I don't know if we're ready for this new Barbie movie, y'all. Welcome to Entertainment Tonight. Mr. Frazier is off this week, and we're going to get to that. But we